Hey guys, here at the shop I'm all about home improvement and home maintenance, and a big part of that is lawn care. Now, for about the past 10 years, I've had this Husqvarna 125b, and it's been a great machine. It starts easy, and can easily handle anything I throw at it. But over this past season, its performance really went downhill. So today I'm going to give it a brand new carburetor, and hopefully breathe some new life into this old workhorse. Now before I take anything apart, I just wanted to show everyone how this blower has been starting and running. Okay, so the problems are A, it's hard to start. Okay, here it took me 12 pulls. And then B, when it does get running, it bogs down really easily, sometimes to the point where it even shuts off. So most likely it's not getting the fuel that it needs. Okay, I'm going to start by removing the main blower tube, just so it's not in my way while I'm working. Now to really get into the carburetor, I got to take off some of these covers. So on the side of the blower that contains the spark plug, I'm going to use a 5/32 Allen wrench and take out the screws so that I can remove the main orange cover, the recoil rope, and then the exhaust cover. And just to be safe, I'll remove the spark plug boot. If you look at the muffler, you'll see that there's a small plate held on by 4 screws. I'm going to remove those screws to gain access to the spark screen. Sometimes if that's blocked, that can also hurt the performance. Now this spark screen looks pretty good, but I will lightly blow it out with some compressed air and then put it back in. Something else that can affect performance is carbon buildup inside the exhaust port. So to check it, I'm going to remove the muffler. Guys, it's probably hard to tell from this picture, but the exhaust port is actually really clean. There's no carbon buildup, which is even more evidence that there's a fuel issue. So to continue on, I'm going to unscrew the lid to the air filter box, remove the air filter, then unbolt the box from the carburetor with a 5/16 socket. With the air filter box out of the way, I can disconnect the fuel lines from the purge bulb, remove the gasket, pull the carburetor from the 2 bolts. And then carefully remove that second gasket. Guys, you can see there's quite a bit of dirt here where the carburetor used to be. So before I put the new one on, I'm going to go ahead and clean it with some carburetor cleaner. But before I do that, I'm going to roll the paper towel and put it in the port. That way no dirt gets inside the motor. And now that we're all clean, we're ready to install the new carb. Now last but not least is the rubber plug inside the gas tank that holds the fuel lines. And this can be a little bit tricky because it's pretty tight. So what I did was just use a flat tip screwdriver and gently get in there and pry it up. And then you can pull out the fuel filter. Guys, one of the things I like to do for projects like this is to lay out the parts in an organized manner so that they don't get lost and then they're easy to find. And another thing I like to do is to take pictures of anything that might be tricky to reassemble. And the pictures I'm about to show you are ones that I actually took for this project itself. And they helped remind me of the location of bolts, parts, and fuel lines. The new carburetor came in a kit that contains fuel lines, a fuel filter, a purge bulb, and even a spark plug. Now I'm not going to use the spark plug because the old one still works just fine, but I'm going to use the rest of the stuff, and I will include a link in the description box. I'm going to start by putting the new fuel lines on the new carburetor, and once I put them in place, I'm just going to hold them up to the old ones and cut them about 1/4 of an inch longer just to make sure that I have enough. Now one of these fuel lines has a plastic fitting in it, which is almost impossible to get out of the old fuel line. So what I did was just very lightly cut the old line with a utility knife, being extra careful not to damage the fitting. Then once I cut the new fuel line, I just put the fitting back in. Now at this point, I can install the new fuel filter, and then the fuel lines will be complete. Okay, now back at the blower, I'm going to reinstall the first gasket, put the fuel filter back in the tank, and reinstall the rubber plug. Next, I'm going to go ahead and connect the fuel line to the bottom of the carburetor. And the reason I'm doing that now is because once the carb's bolted in place, that fuel line is almost impossible to hook up. So once it's connected, I can slide the carburetor back on the bolts. Now when installing the purge bulb, there's both a short and a long stem. The short stem gets the fuel line that goes back to the carburetor. The long stem gets the fuel line that goes to the gas tank. After I put that second gasket in, I'm going to go ahead and install the throttle linkage. And here the crimped end goes in the carburetor and the hooked end goes to the throttle lever. Guys, these purge bulbs clip into the air filter box. So once I get the old one out, I'm going to slide the filter box over the bolts, install the new purge bulb, and then fasten the whole unit down for good. And to finish it off, I'm going to reinstall the air filter and then fasten down the cover. Guys, we are on the home stretch of this project because the last thing to do is to install the main covers. The first of those is going to be the exhaust cover, followed by the main orange cover, and once that's in place, I'll fasten it down with the screws. And after that, I'll install the recoil rope. Alright guys, we're going to finish it off by reinstalling the spark plug boot, filling the gas tank with an ethanol-free 2-cycle mix, and then hopefully firing this thing up. Alright, now this is the first time I've tried to start this with a new carburetor, so let's see what happens. It's a good sign. Guys, this carburetor swap turned out to be a pretty easy fix, and at 20 bucks, you can't really beat the price. Hopefully it'll last a good many years. Now, I'll put a link in the description box to the carburetor kit I bought, and if you like what you saw today, consider liking and subscribing. I definitely appreciate it, and I'll have more videos on outdoor power tools and even some product reviews coming up. Guys, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.